The cafe was bustling with the usual hum of conversations, the clinking of cups, and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee. But at one corner table, a different kind of tension filled the air. A baby's wails pierced through the background noise, sharp and insistent. The parents, an impeccably dressed couple in designer suits, sat helplessly, trying to soothe the child. The father, Alexander Carlyle, a billionaire CEO with a reputation for being unflinchingly stern, looked frustrated. He was used to controlling every aspect of his life, but the helpless cries of his 6-month-old daughter, Lily, had him utterly powerless. Servers avoided the table, casting quick, sympathetic glances at the distressed family. That's when Maya, a young waitress who barely made enough to cover her rent, noticed the scene. She was used to chaos, balancing multiple tables at once, but something about the baby's cries stopped her in her tracks. Her shift had been grueling, and she was exhausted, but Maya had a heart that refused to ignore suffering, no matter how inconvenient. She approached cautiously, kneeling down to the baby's level. "Hi, little one," she said softly, her voice a gentle melody amidst the clamor. Lily's cries didn't stop immediately, but Maya didn't flinch. She started humming a lullaby her own mother had sung to her when she was a child. Slowly, the baby's cries began to falter, turning into hiccups of confusion and curiosity. Alexander, initially skeptical, watched with a raised eyebrow. A waitress. Could she really calm his daughter when no one else could? Minutes passed like hours. Maya's hands moved instinctively, rocking the baby gently while whispering comforting words. She didn't care about the prestige of the table she served or the high-class clientele, all that mattered was the small life in her arms. Finally, Lily's eyes widened, then softened, and a tiny smile formed on her lips. The wails were gone, replaced by quiet gurgles and coos. Maya held her a little longer, ensuring the baby felt safe and loved. Alexander felt a strange warmth he had never known before. He had built empires, negotiated billion-dollar deals, and commanded armies of employees, but this moment humbled him. His daughter, whom he had always feared was fragile and fragile alone in the world, had just connected with someone purely out of kindness. He felt a lump in his throat, something he rarely experienced. Maya gently handed Lily back to her father. "She's strong," Maya said softly, "but sometimes even the strongest need someone to remind them it's okay to be human." Alexander stared at her, the words sinking in deeper than any business lecture ever could. He had spent his life measuring success in numbers, acquisitions, and influence, but he had forgotten the simplest measure of all: love, care, and compassion. Over the next few weeks, Alexander found himself returning to that same cafe, not for business meetings but for Maya. He discovered her story, a young woman supporting her younger siblings, working multiple jobs, yet never losing her faith in humanity. Her courage and warmth inspired him in ways his corporate empire never could. Slowly, a friendship blossomed, rooted in mutual respect and genuine admiration. Maya never sought recognition, never asked for anything in return. But Alexander, moved by her unselfishness, made sure she and her family were supported in ways she could have never imagined. And for Lily, the baby who had cried so relentlessly that day, Maya became a friend, a gentle presence who reminded her that even in a world full of wealth and power, the simplest gestures of kindness were the most extraordinary. The incident became a quiet turning point in Alexander's life. He realized that wealth could buy comfort, influence, and opportunities, but it could never buy the intangible magic of empathy. Maya, with her simple, selfless act, had reminded him, and the world, that true greatness lies not in what you have, but in what you give to others without expecting anything in return. Months later, the cafe hosted a small celebration. Lily, now a toddler, played happily while Maya watched with a proud smile. Alexander stood beside her, a softer, more human man than he had been before. He leaned toward Maya and whispered, "Thank you, for everything." Maya smiled back, shrugging modestly, "I just did what anyone should do." But Alexander knew better. That single, unthinkable act of kindness had changed all their lives forever. As the sun set behind the cafe's windows, the world outside moved on in its usual rush. Yet inside, a billionaire CEO, a humble waitress, and a tiny child had discovered a truth bigger than wealth, fame, or power. Love, compassion, and courage can touch hearts in ways that nothing else can. And sometimes, it only takes one brave, selfless act to remind everyone of what truly matters. If you want, I can also expand this story further with more tension, dialogue, and backstory so it fully fills a 55-minute YouTube video script, including pauses, dramatic beats, and emotional beats for narration. This would make it perfect for storytelling videos.